Alright everyone, so here we have the custom G&P M16 gearbox. It has a ton of upgrade parts that make it well worthy of a field rifle in performance wise. So here's a bunch of the things. First off, we got a nice little Lonex motor on here. Lonex A2 Ultra Torque. It has very little pinging gear wear on it, so that tells you that it's meshed well with the bevel gear, shimming wise. Let's move up to the compression area. For the spring, it's a Garter M170 spring, a Super Shooter Vortex spring guide, and then moving to the actual compression area. Here we have an SHS 15-tooth piston with the AOE set correctly, and then it also has been epoxied down. The piston head is a Lonex piston head, so considering switching out with the nice little VFC piston head I have here, since that's aluminum, and the record FPS wise that have been set all time have used aluminum piston head. So if I want the most FPS, I should probably use this, but I'll be testing both out to see which works the best. Here we have this. It is a stock G&P loading nozzle, air nozzle. It's got a nice little O-ring in there. The tappet plate is a nice little SHS one. The spring has been moved up, so it works really well. Feeds well. Been cut a little bit because normally these things come down to about there, and that's a bit too much in my opinion personally, so I just cut it a little bit. Here we have some SHS components. Inside here we have a little 70D sorbethane pad. I believe it's 1/4 inch. Then you have a full SHS cylinder. This is double O-ring. Let's put that back in place. For the gearbox, I actually want to give you a bit of a close-up on it because, well, I think a close-up would be pretty good for that. I'll fix that later. So here we'll get a nice little close-up of everything. Lonex motor, here is the gear set. That's just the kitchen, if you can hear that fire alarm. Cooking time. The shell has some nice little modified bushings. Those are really strong bushings. And then you can tell because of, well, little sketchy areas, that has been polished with the Dremel tool. It looks fairly decent. The trigger board is a Chimera, or I'm not really quite sure how it's pronounced, even though someone just told me in my last video. Here is the updated 16 gauge wiring I use. The shimming still works really well from the method I use on both my last video and on this one. You can see that there's like almost no wear whatsoever. I really like that. Alright, I'll take the gears out and give you even better close-up of that. Alright, so here's just the general inside of the gearbox. You can see it has a little bit of dispersed grease kind of floating around in there. This is just from the natural spinning of the gears. And then let's take a look at the shimming of the ride gears. These are 27:1 ratio, so they're made for high-powered springs. You can see there's like absolutely no wear. The only wear on the gears that there is from on the bevel where the anti-reveres latch spins. That rubs, so it kind of rubs a little bit of the paint off, but I mean otherwise these are like absolutely brand new. Here's inside the gearbox shell, the Chimera wiring. You can see that. I don't know if I showed you the unit yet. Here's the little unit, Dean's connectors. The terminals are a pain in the butt if you ever wondered. That's the one downside. Stock trigger. No, I suggested a speed trigger because those are so nice, but this isn't. For more info on the Chimera unit, go check out my info install guide. That's actually quite helpful if you're looking for some more info about it. So, I mean, that's the inside of the gearbox. From there, I think that's all you really need to know about the inside. That's pretty much going over everything. Oh, except for, what? Not quite, I guess. On the back, SCHS selector plate, and then it has one of the Chimera springs. They're like enhanced. They're like longer ones, so they can be in like. It's kind of hard to explain, but you have to like modify it out so it'll fit in there. And so that's how that is on the back. Here's an example of what the compression is on this. The full unit all the way to the air nozzle. Pulling the air nozzle out so the O-ring will seal at the outside. That's where it has to seal in the bucking. I mean, if it's back, it could change. So that's why I do it like that. And as you can see, there's like absolutely perfect air seal right here. This is with the VFC piston head, but it does exactly the same with the Lonex. Cause you know the Lonex are actually really good piston heads. So if you're going for a lightweight, I'd advise the Lonex. Anyhow, has an amazing air seal. So that is it for the gearbox internals.
The hop-up system has been modded out along with the rest of the gun. IR hop, barrel shim, Prometheus bucking, Prometheus inner barrel, M-nub, all the awesome stuff the gun should have to make it nice and accurate. STS shock buffer system for that M170 spring so it will not crack. The only external upgrade that has been put on this gun so far is the MOE vertical grip by Magpul. There's also a King Arms sling point, but I don't know if that's really enough to even point out. The gun does shoot 100 yards or close to 106 meters with the IR hop. That shit out there represents where that point is. Each time, the BB manages to make that range. This is set up to be used with .4s and above. I'm using .25s, but they're hitting it every time. The gun was getting around 535 FPS before I messed with the hop up. Now it's getting about 525 FPS, which is still very decent.